You've made it to Chiro Hustle. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession on the world's #1 chiropractic podcast. Before we dive into this powerful episode, please remember to subscribe to our channels and to give us a 5-star rating on iTunes and to continue hustling. This episode is sponsored by Imaging Services, Chiro Health USA, Chiro Moguls, Pure Chiro Notes, Titronics, Sherman College of Chiropractic, New Patients in a Box, the Influencer Authority Podcast Training, Mango Voice, Community Healthcare Resources, Life Chiropractic College West. Let's hustle.
Hey guys, welcome to episode 414 of the Chiro Hustle podcast. I am your producer, Luke Millette, and here's your host, James Chester.
So today we had the opportunity of interviewing J.D. Frost. And if you want to hear about the 4 fundamentals to wealth creation, stay tuned. Welcome back. This is another episode of the Chiro Hustle podcast. This is episode 414. Can you guys believe it? I've been marching forward. Today we have J.D. Frost coming in from Tennessee. My name is James Chester. I'm your host today, and I am in beautiful Colorado. And before we get into 414, just want to set some ground rules for you guys, let you know why we do what we do over here at Chiro Hustle. We do protect freedom of speech, medical freedom. Medical freedom of speech is so important. And a lot of times people get misconstrued. And one of my good friends, Roberto Monaco, will tell you, if we don't tell them the truth, someone else will make one up about us. So with that being said, we also support the Sacred Trust in Chiropractic. If you don't know what that is, use your favorite search engine and go look for BJ Palmer Sacred Trust. And as we develop into this episode, I always want people to know that we support subluxation-based chiropractic, universal intelligence, and innate intelligence. And when someone gets adjusted, it connects man or woman, the physical, to man or woman, the spiritual. And with that being said, J.D. Frost, welcome to the show.
Thank you, James. I appreciate it. Glad to be on here.
Yeah, I saw you crushing it down in Puerto Rico, talking about like tax stuff and financial planning and things that most people are like, I don't know how to do that. That's kind of tough. That's challenging. That's something I don't know how to talk about. And I saw you making it easy for people to understand. So I just want to say thank you for doing that.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, I think I've spent a lot of my career taking things that people think are complicated and breaking them down into more simple concepts and into executable steps.
Mm-hmm. So let's tell your story. How did you get into this whole world of accounting, tax planning, and all the strategy that you do today?
Yeah, so I started out working at a local regional accounting firm when I first started my career as an accountant. And then I got my CPA pretty soon after that. And then decided to start my own CPA firm in 2012. So this year we're celebrating our 10-year anniversary of being in business. And I'm really, really proud of that. And started a very traditional firm, what I would call a traditional firm at first. And then in 2018, got into the entrepreneurial space even more through the 10X community with Grant Cardone. And in 2018 became more of a progressive accounting firm, more of an accounting firm that is focused more on the whole person and the whole financial situation rather than just preparing a tax return or doing bookkeeping, what we might think most traditional firms are doing. We focus more on what's going on in the person's life and how they are going to be able to know exactly what they want in order to make better decisions about taxes, about wealth, about their life and their relationships.
So tell me this. I know that you probably get this question all the time about the 10X world. What was it like when you first got the opportunity to get to know Grant and work with that team?
For me, when I first went to the Growth Con, and it was out in Vegas, I think it was the second one. When I went to that, I was in the third row from the top in this arena with 10,000 entrepreneurs inside. And I believe I was probably the only CPA in there. Maybe there was one or two others, but I found a community that thought a lot like I did, that I knew needed help in this part of business, in the area of taxes and finances. And I enjoyed them. I'm a recovering alcoholic, and I met a lot of people there that had issues like that in the past. And so when I got to know that community, when I got to know those people, had a lot of things in common, and we had the same mindset. And that felt really good. And I was doing business with people with a common mindset, not just trying to find clients, if you know what I mean. So I really enjoy working with people like yourself. Our team enjoys working with people like yourself because you have a podcast, you get it. Like, you're out there trying to help other people. You already have that mindset. So we have so much more in common when we first start doing business. And that's the kind of people we're looking for today.
Well, that's really cool. And as I hear you talk about the process of making bookkeeping and tax returns and things like that, tax planning, I guess fun for the person on the other end of it. How do you position that to make it more of an experience rather than a drudgery?
Oh man, that's a really good question. I appreciate that big time, because nobody likes to deal with taxes. Nobody wants to have an audit of their financial statements or have to send their tax returns and explain it to a banker so that they can go get a loan. They want to work with somebody who can partner with them, who can help them understand it as well. It's just something that a lot of people try to shy away from. So, one thing that has hit me a lot recently is, no matter what kind of tax strategy, no matter what kind of financial structure that we could put together for our client, unless it's something that they want, and unless it's something that's very aligned with their thought process, their decision-making ability, their ability to take risk, it's not going to be well received. So what we have started doing is we start working with our people expert, Rocky Garza, with clients. You saw him speak in Puerto Rico. I mean, this guy understands people, and he helps people find out who they really are. And that's where we start, is with the person. So when we're working with somebody and we bring up a certain tax strategy, if they know who they are and they know that they're the kind of person that can make a decision about this tax strategy, now that's the tax strategy for them. I can introduce the best thing in the world to you, James, but if you're not the kind of person that's going to say yes, if you're the kind of person that's going to shy away, if you're this kind of person that doesn't really want to save money on taxes, you think you do because that's what people say, that's what they talk about, that's what you hear you're supposed to do, you might not make that same decision. And so I think that's where we've made it to where it's not this struggle. It's not this boring task that I have to do. Taxes really tell a story about your life. And your life determines where you're going to be paying taxes, how you live your life, the decisions that you make in your life. And so the two correlate really, really, really well together. And now we've got a team of people who really understand that. And so that's the kind of clients that we're looking for. Those that want to improve not only their tax situation, but they also want to improve what we call the four foundations of wealth creation.
Yeah, I'm going to get into the 4 foundations of wealth creation here in a moment.
Mm-hmm.
But before that, I want to tell you, I actually was at that first 10X that you went to. That was my first. The second one out there in Las Vegas at Mandalay Bay.
Yes, that's right.
Pretty cool. So I was in that audience, and that lit me up pretty well too. I rushed over to Russell Brunson and bought his thing like immediately. And
I did too. I did too. I never used it. Never used it.
But yeah, that's just it. Is like, when you can inspire somebody with a message, people will give you $3,000 and not use it.
Yep. That's right. That's right.
So let me ask you more direct towards our audience base. These fundamentals, these foundations that you teach, how can we make that make sense to chiropractors and healthcare providers?
Yeah. So, I mean, for any business owner, but in particular to healthcare providers and chiropractors, I mean, most of the ones that I've come across are very successful. They have their own practice. They're working quite a bit. They're making good money. But what do they want? What do they really want? Why did they get into chiropractor practice? Why did they get into the medical practice? That's one thing that we focus on from the very beginning is, what do you want? If you're talking about our second foundation, do you really want to save money on taxes? Or do you want to save money on taxes and still be able to get that home loan that you're trying to get because you're building that? The questions that we're asking are very important to help us determine what you want. So the 4 foundations of wealth creation are increasing your recurring monthly income, tax savings, protecting your income, and investing in yourself and others. Okay. So it's like almost like a circle. So as you are increasing your income, then you need to save money on taxes. Then you need to use tax saving strategies to protect your income and then invest in yourself and others. And as you invest in yourself and others, then you're going to increase your income as well. So every single time I've started to meet new people, every single time I get into a new network, be on a new podcast like yours, I really appreciate it, by the way, I get to be in front of a new network. And so our income is going to increase because our influence is going to increase. You're going to find more people to help. And so these 4 foundations across every single industry that we've done business with, these are the common themes that we see determine whether or not somebody creates wealth or does not create wealth. And it starts with having the courage to create that wealth. It starts with knowing what you want, because wealth to you is different than what's wealth to me, is different than what's wealth to anybody else who's watching today.
Well, let me turn the page this way. Say we're writing a new chapter, and somebody's curious about what you're doing. I've always heard it's not about how much money you make, it's about how much money you keep. Mm-hmm. Can you elaborate on that and how your business can help people keep more of their money?
Yes. Yeah, for sure. I mean, we have an enormous amount of tax strategies that we use every single year with our clients, in particular with chiropractors, that are going to help them save money on taxes. That enables you to keep more of that money, because if you know how the tax system works, the estimated tax payments that you make, the W-2 withholdings that are on your pay stubs every single month or every 2 weeks, that's your money that's going to the government. So that money has the ability to help you to make more money in the future. So if you're not paying as much in taxes, if you're reinvesting it into your business on a regular basis, that is creating additional deductions so that you don't pay as much money in taxes. Then you're using that money to create more of a return. So it enables you to be able to multiply the results from that $1 than if you did not keep that dollar.
Mm-hmm. So I think what you're saying is let's remove the word taxes and just put my money.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Taxes is just unfortunately something that's on my mind quite a bit.
My money,
Yeah.
my money. So
Yeah, that's right.
I love Cardone because he's always like, who's got my money?
Who's got my money? Yeah, exactly.
So let's take a deep dive. Let's talk about your product and services that you guys have. I know you do tax planning, you guys do CPA work, you guys do some bookkeeping work. But let's talk about like your pillars of influence with your business model and go a little bit deeper on those.
Yeah. Are you talking about specifically in the tax area, or are you talking about across the 4 foundations?
I would say let's talk taxes, because that's what people are most interested in right now. Yeah. But I think when people do a discovery call with you, you can go a little bit deeper and talk to them about the portfolio of services that your business holds.
Sure. The absolute best thing that we help our clients with, and this is where our business is really gravitating towards, is not tax preparation work, but tax planning and a tax planning blueprint. So what we do for clients, we typically charge $7,500 for this. We take them through a complete tax plan. We take them through a software that we use that uses AI technology to match up the tax code with your specific tax situation. Now, this takes some effort from the client because the client has to fill out lots of work. You were talking about this before we got on here. You're like, hey, you're asking me to work in order to be able to, for y'all to help me with the tax. Like, this doesn't, yes, it requires investment of the business owner's time to save money on taxes. Those business owners that put the time in are literally creating new money because they put the time in to get the right information into our system, which then allows us to be able to help you have tax saving strategies that you can execute moving forward. So we have a lot of clients that already have a relationship with a CPA. I love clients that already have a relationship with a CPA. We would rather not do your bookkeeping. We would rather not do your tax prep. We would rather help you with tax planning and strategies that we know are going to bring the most value to you as long as you execute on it. That's the best product and service where we're going to have the biggest impact on our clients.
Well, that brings it back to me then. And that's like teamwork. Now you have created a group of people, a consortium, if you will, of people that have different specialty subsets that support your brand. Let's talk about how important teamwork is into business building.
Oh my gosh. I was just talking at lunch today. I will never do a new business without a partner who is an expert in that business. I don't ever want to start another business by myself ever again. So as far as teamwork goes, I mean, it starts at the top because not everybody knows everything, right? Nobody knows everything. And there's always something new to learn from somebody else. And one of our core values is collaboration. And collaboration just is like exponential potion on your business. It like allows you to exponentially grow. It allows you to exponentially learn. It allows you to just take your business to another level that I've never experienced before until I truly collaborated with somebody else.
Yeah, I think they always tell you, like, a little fun thing to say is teamwork makes the dream work.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And when you have people that have high level bandwidth intelligence on one topic, that's really important because now you're taking somebody that's an expert in their arena, and then you're collaborating with somebody that they don't need to be coached or taught how to think about something specific.
Yeah.
Like you're working with somebody that's an industry leader, which I think is really important.
Yeah. And that's one thing that when I first started the accounting firm, I always had this dream of having non-accountants helping to prepare tax returns. And the reason why I wanted to do that is because somebody like yourself, I don't believe you're an accountant or have an accounting background. Am I wrong? Nope. Or is that correct? So, somebody like yourself is going to have a completely different perspective, and you're going to ask different questions. I'm stuck in the accounting world. I'm stuck in the way that things have already been done, kind of. And so we have a team. And what's so cool about our team is we have Kara that you were talking to. We have Sarah Bivens who helps us with onboarding. We've got Nathan who's going to be preparing the tax return. And then we got Lakia who's going to be reviewing the return. And then I'm going to look at it too. So we have all these different people that are part of that team that are giving those different perspectives and asking different questions at each stage of the production of the tax return. So now you're getting these like multiple views of the return when in a traditional firm, you're only getting one view. And that view typically is, oh yeah, that's what we did last year. So no, we're not going to look into that. Or no, that's not going to work. Or no, way to go. You made a lot of money. You're going to pay more in taxes. That's not the way that we operate. And that goes back to it being a team. That team is providing that different perspective. And that's what makes us a little bit more of a progressive accounting firm, I believe.
I love that. And as I was reading your bio, I said, this guy has a CPA and his MBA. And I think that's something that gives you massive leverage on team building too, is because you look at this accounting, you look at this bookkeeping, you look at this tax planning as a business.
Yes. Yeah. 100%. And I think your more typical traditional CPAs are looking at it just from one side of it. The CPA that I used to work for, he had a business acumen. He looked at it from multiple views, and they had a lot of great clients because of that, because he saw it from the business owner's perspective, not just his perspective.
Yeah, I think it's really cool to get to know you and to learn more about your business. Because I actually, when we were behind the scenes talking, I was like, I think this interview is going to help our audience tremendously, but more than anything, it's going to help me understand more about what you're doing.
Yes. Yeah. I appreciate that.
You've made it to Chiro Hustle. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession on the world's #1 chiropractic podcast. This episode is sponsored by Imaging Services, Chiro Health USA, Chiro Moguls, Pure Chiro Notes, Titronics, Sherman College of Chiropractic, New Patients in a Box, the Influencer Authority Podcast Training, Mango Voice, Community Healthcare Resources, Life Chiropractic College West. Let's hustle.
Yeah.
So let's continue on with our questions here. Let's talk more about you the person. I know we've talked a heavy load about like the money world and the earning and tax world, but let's talk about your personal health. How do you stay healthy? What are you doing?
First thing I do to stay healthy is I get up in the mornings between 5 and 5:30 every morning. I started doing that after reading a book called the 5 a.m. Club. I'm sure you've read it, or anybody who's listening here has probably read it. I had never read it before, but now I'm hooked. And so I do that. I work out every day. I do some type of physical workout, either with a trainer, with weights. I either run, and then I just started doing yoga in the last, I guess, 3 months, which I really enjoy. I do meditation at least 3 or 4 times a week. And I'm eating better because I'm working out more. And then if I was really, really healthy, I'd be getting to bed at 10 o'clock rather than 11 o'clock.
Yeah. I appreciate the how fallible you are about your approach, but you're saying, hey man, I'm doing the right things I know how to do.
Yeah.
And I think that waking up early is a value add to people's life. I don't know. I mean, by 9 a.m., I probably did more work in an entire
morning I'm sure you do. Yeah.
Than most people can complete until 5 p.m.
Yeah.
And I think that that's just our bandwidth of our energy. I think people wake up more energetically charged before they go through the noon hour. I think that the least productive hours for people are between like noon and 3. And then people really get after it between like 3 and 5 because they know they have to do some stuff before they leave on the day.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I have won the day by 8 o'clock. I've won. It doesn't matter what's happened the rest of the day. It really doesn't. I don't have like the best attitude, in all honesty, throughout the whole day, but I do know that I did the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things that I set out to do before 8 o'clock every single day.
So let me ask you about that. I know one of the things that you talked about down there in Puerto Rico was day one. Day one's every day. Let's elaborate on that a little bit because I'm going on 4 years of sobriety from alcohol. That'll be Thanksgiving.
Oh, awesome.
And I really resonated with your story too. And I think that that's a part that we really don't get to talk about on the show enough is about like real life stuff. Like who the hell are you and why do you do what you do?
Yeah.
And I think that that's really cool. If you could share that with our audience, like, why do you do that? Like what was the impetus for you to make that change?
As far as alcoholism goes, my wife had an intervention for me. That made me have the change. I spent the last 2 years when I was still drinking. I spent a lot of time trying to stop, and I would never do anything different to stop. And you know what the definition of insanity is: doing the same thing over and over and and thinking you're going to get a different result. So until we had that intervention, that's what significantly changed the trajectory of everything. I'm very, very thankful that was my bottom. That was the lowest that I got from the perspective of drinking. And, after that, going to marriage counseling, going to AA, kept getting me a new perspective every single week and kept helping me to get more awareness. The more awareness that I have, the better choices I'll make, the better results I'll get. And one thing I heard at my meeting this week that I think is worth mentioning, what's cool about being an alcoholic is I've got the ability to go slow and never cease. So no matter what is going on, no matter what is happening, no matter how difficult the challenge is, and man, I'm having a very difficult few days here. I'm probably having the most difficult 7 days of my career, these last 7 days. But I keep reminding myself, go slow and never cease. Just don't quit. You don't have to speed through the process. You don't have to rush through the process in order to be able to meet that challenge or tackle that challenge. Just go slow and don't cease.
Well, that's some real talk, man. And I think that people need more of that in their life. They need some understanding that it's okay to be themselves.
Oh yeah.
And it's okay to have struggles in this lifetime, and not everybody's the highlight reel on an Instagram post.
Mhm.
We all have our struggles. But let me ask you, since getting into this sobriety method that you're in, has that made an impact on how you start your day?
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, I used to end my day at 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock in the morning. That's when I ended my day. And then I was a highly functioning alcoholic. So then I'd wake up at 7:30, 8 o'clock. I'd go work out. I get in the office by like 9:30, and then I'd work from 9:30 to about 5:30. And then it's time to go to the bar, and I'd go do that and then hit my second bar. And then I'd be out till 2 or 3 in the morning again. So yes, that's had a significant impact on how I start the day. My favorite time of day now is at 5 o'clock, that 5 to 8 period for sure.
Yeah, that's really cool, man. I'm really proud of you. Thank you for sharing so openly.
Thank you. Yeah, of course.
So let me talk a little bit more about you and like how you got to this position that you're in. I know that it doesn't come easy. You have to have some type of inspiration, some type of people that you're mentioning, books you've read. But who are some of your heroes or mentors that helped you get to the position you're at today?
Oh man, I've been very, very fortunate. I'm a big golfer, and so when I started playing golf when I was 10 years old, I was always playing golf with people that were older than me. I was very rarely the old guy in the group by any means. I was always the youngest. And so I've had quite a few mentors over my life. It's always been very natural to me to go to older people for advice and to look to them for advice. But I've got one guy, a guy named Doug McCloy. Talk to him every single day, every morning at 7:30, 7:30 or 8 o'clock. And we talk for 20, 30 minutes. He's a client, he's a friend, he's a mentor. He's been an angel investor at different times in my career. And another guy named Lynn Gibson, Dan Nosley, my father, Steve Frost. I've probably got at least 10 or 12 people that have a lot of experience that I'm able to go to them with just about any situation and say, what do you think?
That's cool, man. I think it's cool that you pay reverence towards your dad too.
Yeah, it's and that hasn't always been the case. My dad and I have had a difficult relationship over the years, but what's been really interesting is using the practice and the exercise of curiosity, and I've studied that quite a bit, and just learning to ask better questions and to really use these ears that we have, and to really listen and know who somebody is. Because the more that I ask the questions and the more that I learn, the better a relationship seems to be. Isn't that crazy? It's just funny how it works.
Well, I think a lot of times people have made up stories inside their head and they never are curious enough to debunk those.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, totally. I think it's extremely important that I'll just touch on mentors, how much of an impact that can have. It's just invaluable to have somebody with more experience that maybe they haven't been through the exact same situation that you're going through, but they've lived longer in life than you have. They are going to be able to help you. And it's one of the, I think it's imperative to have that in your life, because that'll bring more accountability to you and bring a lot of wisdom to you too.
Well, here's the real deal now, JD. Now you're the mentor.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. I've had the privilege of helping quite a few people, and I hope to help a lot more. And I always want to be. I like to think that I'm very real upfront. Maybe some people might think it's a little bit too upfront, but I want people to always walk away from doing business with me or interact with me being like, that guy kept his word. He does what he says he's going to do. And if he's not going to, he's going to tell me immediately. And that's the kind of legacy that I want to leave. I always want to be somebody who's dependable, reliable, and trustworthy. And that's, that's something that I have a lot of passion for.
Well, I look forward to being your client. I look forward to being somebody that can refer you far and wide for the miracles that we create with my financial futures.
Love that.
Before we get off of today's interview, let's tell a financial miracle story. Somebody that you found that might have not had things lined up the right way, and now today they're just like absolutely like impressive and helping so many people with their abilities.
I mean, the one person that always comes to mind for me right now is the guy named Tony Oliver. He was in prison for about 18 years, and a friend of ours named Troy Rogers introduced us. When Troy came and gave a speech to our company at United Way in Chattanooga, he came and spoke to us, and he introduced me to the fact that there's two Chattanoogas, that there's one that I know and one that I don't know about. And he wanted to introduce me to Tony Oliver, who knew about the other Chattanooga. Okay. I'm sure every city in America is kind of like this. And I heard his story. He wanted to start a trash can cleaning business. Okay. Trash can cleaning business, which I honestly, I was like, okay, let's look into it. He had to buy this really expensive truck. I started thinking about like how many people are really going to pay you to clean the inside of their trash can. Didn't really make a lot of sense. I said, if you like cleaning, how about we do office cleaning? Let's do office cleaning and start your business. Literally started from scratch. That was in 2018. Today he's doing $25,000 a month in revenue and just landed a contract with the city of Chattanooga that I believe is worth about $125,000 a year. This guy and I have met. At first, we were meeting just about every week. The last couple of years, it's been more like every other month. But he has done every single thing that I've ever asked of him, which is what I ask of myself: network, meeting new people, writing your goals down, being real with yourself about your goals, and he does it every single day. And I would say that going from I love people who start a business. It might not go the exact direction that they thought it should go, but they stayed with it. And that's part of that, go slow and don't cease. It's been about 4 years of building up this business for Tony, but now he has a team. He's given people jobs that wouldn't have had jobs before. He's given them opportunities that they wouldn't have had before. And he's going to continue to grow that over and over and over again. And think about the number of lives that that's going to impact. So I would say that that's probably for me, the biggest miracle that's happened in business for me so far.
Really, really cool. At this juncture, I just have to ask you, is there anything that I didn't ask you that you would like to share with our audience today?
No, I don't think so. I feel like that you covered it. I think that, anybody that's watching this, I want to encourage you when you're going through challenging times in your business, just say to yourself, day one, every single day is a brand new day. We all know that, but we have to remind ourselves each day at the very beginning, this is day one. And what that means is that you do everything you possibly can today, and you get up tomorrow and do it again. That is what will help you to overcome some challenges, overcome fear, overcome doubt, help you to not feel alone. And the power of that is unbelievable when you start to live it out every single day. And those mentors that are there to remind you of that is extremely important as well.
Well, I know that everybody's going to want to work with you. So where can we send them to?
The best way to start working with us is, I believe that we're going to drop a link in the comments of this post here, and that's going to be the way that you can start. And you'll be able to set up a call with our team and get going. I would also like to go ahead and say we're going to have another link in there. That's our Onward Accelerator program. It's the best way to get started with us. That's where you're able to meet with myself, Matt Dyra, Rocky Garza, all of our experts on an every other week basis. And that's where you start to kind of get ingrained into the culture of our business, where we talk about the 4 foundations. And we helped a guy get a $250,000 loan from just being on that call a few weeks ago, just by changing the way he thought, just by giving him things to do and holding him accountable each week on what needed to be done next. Guy wanted to get into real estate, had no loan, had no assets, nothing, ended up getting approved for a $250,000 loan. So that's the kind of stuff that we're doing in the Onward Accelerator program. Just be careful when you join that program. You're going to accomplish your goals. I think sometimes we sabotage ourselves. We don't want to, we think we do, but we really don't. It's going to happen when you join that program. It's going to happen. So be ready.
So let's send them to a traditional website too, because this is what's going to be on the imagery that we produce.
Okay.
Is it croftandfrost.com?
Croftandfrost.com. Yes.
Cool.
Yep. That's funny. That's funny that you have to say a traditional website now.
Well, you're like, I got these 2 links.
I know.
I'm going to drop them below.
I got links everywhere. You know what I mean? Go to my link tree on Instagram. It's hilarious. I got it. Whatever. There's like 10 links there.
Well, I appreciate your time. I know it's super valuable.
Sure.
I know that our network is going to benefit greatly from this episode today. And I'm going to close out by telling people it's not about what you know, it's who you know, but it's not about who you know, it's how you treat who you know. And that's the up level. And that's what this whole episode is all about. And JD Frost, episode 414 of the Chiro Hustle podcast. Really appreciate you being my guest today.
Thank you so much, James. I really appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun today, and look forward to the next time we see each other.
Me too. Thank you.
All right. Bye for now.
All right. We'll see you.
Thanks for listening to Chiro Hustle. Don't forget to subscribe and check back next week to continue hustling.